Today is our second day of remote learning. We are going to learn a new lesson today on simple interest. Interest is money that you earn when you deposit money in the bank, or it's also money you pay when you take out a loan or borrow money from the bank. So we are going to learn how to solve for the interest, the principal, the rate, and the time. Please remember to complete your Do Now, watch the screencast, submit your Google form, and then do a reflection of the day. To calculate simple interest, we use the formula I equals PRT. I stands for interest, P stands for principal, R is the rate, and T is the time. The interest is money earned or paid from investing or borrowing money. Principal is the amount of money deposited or borrowed. The rate is the interest rate. It's normally given to you as a percent, but when you put it in the formula, you need to use a decimal. And the T is time. One key thing with the time is time has to be expressed in years. So if you are given months, you have to convert it to years. So we are going to work through 4 examples. The first example will solve for the interest. The second example will solve for the rate. The third example will solve for the principal. And the fourth example will solve for time. Now, you can see all the worked out examples on the notes. That's also posted in Google Classroom with the objectives for the day. I did type out how to solve each one. So after watching this video, if you want notes to refer to, please look on the Google Slides. The first person that we are going to talk about is Alice. We want to know how much interest Alice makes when she deposits this money in the bank. So in order to determine, we are going to use the formula I equals PRT, okay? And we don't know the interest. We don't know the interest. We know her principal, we know her rate, and we know the time. So we're going to sub in what we know. We are solving for I, so it makes it very easy. PRT is multiplied. So we just sub in the 600 for the principal. The rate, we need to make a decimal, so it becomes 1400ths. And the time we express as a decimal as well. 1.5 years is 1 5/10. And then on your calculator, you just multiply 600 times 1400 times 1.5 years. And when you do this, you should realize Alice earns $126 interest. So the next we're going to be solving for Carl, the rate. We know Carl's principal is $1,300. We don't know the rate. We know the time is 3 years, and we know the interest that he earned is $364. So we still use the formula I equals PRT, and we sub in what we know. We know the interest is $364. The principal is $1,300. The rate we don't know, so we let that be R, and the time is 3 years. We need to simplify the expression, so we do 1,300 times 3, and we get 3,900 R equals 364. To solve for R, you divide both sides of the equation by 3,900. When you do that, you get R to be a decimal. R is 93 thousandths with the 3 repeating. And then when you make it a percent, you realize the interest rate for Carl was 9 3/10 repeating percent. That is the rate he earned for putting his money in the bank. The next example, we're going to be solving for the principal. So we know Fred earns 5%, that's his rate. He deposited his money for 4 years, that is the time, and the interest he earned was $440. So we still use the formula I equals PRT, except this time we are solving now for the principal. We know he earned $440, that's the interest. We don't know the principal, so we let that be P. We turn the rate into a decimal, so it's 500ths, and we know the time is 4 years. So now we need to simplify again, and we do 500ths times 4, and you get 2/10 P equals $440. Then you have to divide each side of the equation. So you divide both sides by 2/10. You divide 440 by 2/10, and the principal that Fred put into the bank account was $2,200. That is solving for principal. The last example, we're going to solve for time. So Sarah, we still use the formula I equals PRT. Sarah had $5,000 in the bank. Her rate was 6.5%. We don't know the time, but we know she earned $975 simple interest. So we sub in our numbers to the formula. $975 was the interest. $5,000 was the money she put in the bank. We make 6.5% a decimal, and we don't know the time, so we let that be t. Then, just like we did in the prior problems, we need to simplify both sides of the expression. So we do 5,000 times 65 thousandths, and we get 325t equals 975. When solving for t, we divide each side by 325, and we get t to equal 3 years. Sarah left the $5,000 in the bank for 3 years. I'm going to show you an example how this applies with a word problem. Jose deposits $1,500 of his tax refund into an account that earns simple annual interest. How much interest will his account earn after 6 months at an annual interest rate of 4%? So we are still going to use our simple interest formula, I equals PRT. We need to figure out how much interest he is earning. We know Jose deposits $1,500 into his account. We know the rate is 4%, so we make that a decimal. Now, the time is 6 months. Remember, we need the time to be expressed in years. So we change 6 months to a year, and it's a half a year. Okay? So then, all we need to do is figure out the interest. We take $1,500 times a 4% interest rate times the half a year, and we realize that Jose earns $30 interest. Using the simple interest formula, we also can figure out the total amount that somebody has in their bank or the total amount that they borrow. So let's see how this works. Lisa borrows $2,850 at 4 3/10% simple interest per year. When she pays back the loan 9 years later, what is the total amount she ends up repaying? So we need to figure out, when you borrow money, you have to pay back with interest. Banks do not let you borrow money and just say whenever you get around to it, you pay them back. So we have to figure out how much interest she is going to pay on the amount she borrows. So she borrowed $2,850 at a 4 3/10% interest rate for 9 years. So we sub that into our formula, and then we multiply. $2,850 times the 4 3/10% interest rate for 9 years means on this loan, Lisa owes $1,102.95 interest, and that is just the interest. So when she goes to repay it, she has to pay the initial amount, which is $2,850, plus the $1,102.95. She has to pay the amount she borrowed, plus the interest back to the bank. So you then would add $2,850 plus $1,102.95 means Lisa, after 9 years, is paying $3,952.95 back to the bank. If you look in Classroom at our remote learning plan, each day I tell you the agenda. So the due down, then you had the screencast, the Google form, the homework is the IXL that you should be working on. All IXL will be due March 25th by 9 a.m. And then complete your daily reflection form. After this agenda, I also include notes. So that is the formula you saw on the screencast. And I show you worked out examples. You should really review these examples as well as listen to the screencast. It will help you complete today's daily Google form. If you have any questions, remember I'm available from 9:30 to 12:30 a.m. for an immediate response. And I will also have the Zoom call at 11:30 a.m. Okay? Have a great day and ask me any questions you may need. Thank you.